Right, all right, all right. It is Monday night off the cuff. You are back here with Rocked On Detroit Lions. It is officially cut day, and man, are there some surprises already? I can see this chat's already lighting it up, and apparently we have subscriber-only mode on. Well, what the hell? Let's just do it. Let's get some more subscribers tonight. We want to give away a free helmet anyway, so we just need, 15 more? I think that's the number. About 15 more. So this morning, after I got off the show, I put out a video because I wanted to recap a few things that I had forgotten about. This kind of happens with 1 hour of sleep. Give me 1 second. My phone died, so I'm trying to make sure I get everything updated. Anyway, we're about 20 subscribers away to the next helmet giveaway. All right, let's get rolling. So tonight, we're going to just take a look and see what's happening. So these cuts that are supposed to be happening between today and tomorrow will be finished by 4 p.m. Usually we don't get the final roster until 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Usually it's at least the last couple of seasons it's been that way. The hardest ones are the last 10, and that usually takes the longest for the Lions to figure out. And then everything has to get sent to the NFL, and the NFL has to officially approve everything, or it has to be in by a certain time, and they have to go through all the paperwork, and then it can be released or something like that. So okay, let me give you guys an update here. Most recent cuts, big shocker, long snapper Scott Daly. This was a big surprise. You guys got to give me just 1 second. Long snapper Scott Daly was a big surprise. I did not expect for him to really be in a battle with Hogan Hatton or Hayton, however you pronounce his last name. Matter of fact, I don't even know how I missed this battle, meaning that there was even really a battle here. I didn't think that Scott Daly was ever in threat of losing his position. So it is what it is. It's just a long snapper. I'm not too worried about it. Pat O'Connor, this one was no big surprise. Defensive lineman. Now, the Lions apparently do want to sign him to the practice squad. So a couple of updates I want to give you guys on practice squad rules. You can only have 6 or less, or does it have to be at least 6? Either way, I think it's about 6 that have to be 3 or more years of accrued service with the NFL. And then the other 10 are basically 2 years and newer. So they can't have more than 2 years of accrued service in the NFL. So that's your rookies, your UDFAs, last year's players that can be added to the practice squad. So it's not just anybody. You can't just have anybody you want. There is limits to this and very specific players that can be added. Linebacker Ty Summers. I mean, this one's not a big surprise. I mean, he did have a phenomenal game on Saturday, and he really played well. But I think it's just a little bit too late as far as what he was able to show. Now, I did like his ability. Now, I didn't have him on my final 53, but I did like his ability and what he was showing right away. I mean, picking up the defense, playing in the right position at the right time, made a lot of great plays on Saturday, and that one was a bit surprising. Mitchell Agudi. This one is probably the most surprising one so far. I was never in his boat, and Mike Kimber was constantly telling us, this guy's going to make it. This guy's going to make it. And then after watching him, I'm like, you know what? There's something to this guy. The guy's playing lights out. I do not expect this guy to last long, honestly. If there's a team out there that needs a sixth linebacker or a fifth linebacker or a fifth defensive end that he fits their mold, he almost maybe fits better as a 3-4. in a 3-4 system, because he can play up and down. And, in a 3-4, he can be that fourth linebacker. So this one was a little bit surprising to me. Offensive line, Brian Hudson, not surprising. Cornerback, Rashad Wildgoose, not surprising. This is just a camp body. Zonovan Knight, not surprising. Probably the second biggest one, it might honestly be the biggest one, is Shane Zielstra. So I've been all over Parker Heese as the guy that should make this roster. And if they keep James Mitchell over Shane Zielstra and Parker Heese, I think that's a major mistake. I really do. I think that's a major mistake. Now, I haven't heard anything as far as who they are leading or, towards, or who's higher on the list. I mean, I don't know if anybody really knows. Donovan Peoples-Jones, this one's not a big surprise. I mean, I threw him on my list to make the 53 because it was kind of like by default, like you've got to have somebody. Are they really only going to keep 4? They could. Do they have their eyes on some other players that are potentially going to be cut? You better believe it. Is there an opportunity for some guys like, I don't know, Michael Thomas, the guy that I just spoke about the other day? Is there any potential for him to, get healthy and make it to this team? I'm less than 10% on Michael Thomas. It's just an interesting prospect, someone that has been kind of forgotten about this year. And I didn't forget about him. I thought about him the other day, and I thought he would make perfect sense given the fact that we don't really do anything with our 5th wide receiver, at least not much. But we do need someone that can play special teams. And I think that's how you're going to make this team. Is you got to play special teams. And I don't see Michael Thomas doing that anyway. Caden Davis, not really a surprise. I mean, he did kind of come on late. He had a couple of good games. But look, the Lions are looking for a boundary guy. They are looking for a bigger wide receiver. This is not a secret. They want a bigger body in the room. They lost Antoine Green. They love Antoine Green. He's a little bit slow to develop, but he's exactly what they were looking for. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken him in the draft last year. They need a bigger body, preferably someone with speed, but preferably a bigger body. All right, let's get those likes up, says Tracy. All right, let me get in here to see what we got going on here. Who else do we have? Couple lateral moves. Emmanuel Mosley. Lions placed cornerback Emmanuel Mosley on IR to return. This one blows my mind. Like, how do I put it without being insensitive? Because I know some fans will probably take this the wrong way. There was a point this year where there was a lot of analysts talking about Brad Holmes' ego. And does he have a big ego? Is he too cocky? And for me, this is almost one of those moves. This is almost one of those ego moves, right? Where he wanted Emmanuel Mosley to work out so bad that he didn't. And then not only did he not work out last year, they doubled down when I said, don't do it. And they doubled down, and he gets hurt again. Another season ending, or what should be a season ending injury. So there must be more to the Emmanuel Mosley drama here that we don't know, because typically a pectoral injury like this, like CJ Gardner-Johnson, it's, longer than 12 weeks. That's for sure. And he did get injured early enough in camp where you may give him an opportunity to come back, but what's the point? What is honestly the point for Emmanuel Mosley to come back? You have plenty of other players that can play. There's going to be plenty of other options out there. And hold on one second here. There's just really not a big point for him to come back. Like I'm saying here, there really isn't. I think that this is kind of nutty to me that you're going to continue to give this guy an opportunity. He's had 3 major injuries in 3 seasons in a row. How many more chances are you going to give this guy? How many more chances are you going to give Emmanuel Moseley? Christian Mahogany on NFI, like I expected. This one made perfect sense. I mean, the guy missed the entire camp. He's not ready, not even close. I'm a little bit miffed at the DJ Reader thing. So the DJ Reader being activated, off of the PUP list, and what I just read a little bit ago, that he's going to be ready to go by week 1. And with that, is there, again, I mean, just like Moseley, is there something that we don't know? That's what I don't know. Is there something that we don't know about DJ Reader? Because just the other day, Doc Macaroon did a follow-up with him, and according to that story, there was no timetable for DJ Reader to come back. Now, I can't imagine that we were just fed a bunch of BS, right? That they just... Not that Doc would, but the DJ would just run a bunch of BS and not give us, at least as much truth as he could. He's obviously not going to, give away or divulge, tactical information that the Lions are, their plans and what they plan on doing. He passed his physical, which is great. But that still doesn't mean that he's ready for game, for a game here in a couple of weeks. Doesn't mean that he's ready to go. What I saw here again is that you walk down that path, right, of last year. Moseley is set to come back. He has the cleanup surgery. It kind of holds him back a little bit. And then he's benched a little while because he's got to work himself back. Had a couple of hiccups along the way, getting ready to make the field. Comes back in week 5 and bang, he doesn't even last 4 plays. I don't want to see that happen to DJ Reader. I don't want to feel like, and I'm not saying that they rushed Moseley back, but I don't want to feel like everyone's in a rush to get DJ Reader back. Like that would be the worst decision this team could make, the DJ could make, and the fans could expect. My personal opinion, you can disagree with that if you would like, but wouldn't you rather see DJ Reader good for 3/4 of the season? I would. I'd rather not see him come back and by week 2, he's already got a problem. Because then he's going to be limping the whole season. It's just never going to get right. This is a very serious injury. And it's his second one. So he's pretty comfortable with it. Like he knows what he's doing. Sabi, new name in here. Haven't seen you in. I'll get to the chat here in just a minute. He says, question for you, Will. With the 53-man roster decision still looming, coupled with the news or lack thereof, with Melifonwu, do the Lions ever put Vaki in the safety spot? So I would say yes. Without a doubt. I mean, I think that he would be the last one to fill that spot. But when you look at his ability, yes, I think that there would be some opportunity for Vaki to play some safety. I mean, that's been his position prior to playing in, 5 games with Utah as a running back. And he was playing, some games where he was playing dual roles, safety and running back. So I would say yes, 1,000%. He would be somebody that you could rely on to give you some snaps. I just don't think that that's the Lions' full intent with Vaki right now is safety. But I would say that is a backup option for Vaki. In a pinch, you've got another guy that knows the position at a minimum. Who lost powers? There's some storms going on. There's supposed to be some real nasty storms coming this way over the next couple of days. Hopefully we don't. We always lose power, even though all of our power lines are underground. I swear, if the wind coughs, we lose power over here. All right, I don't even have the YouTube open, so I don't even know how many people we even have in right now. But I would like to know from you guys, at least from the people that are in the chat right now, what are your thoughts as far as is the cuts that they've made so far? What are your thoughts? Are you in agreement with these? Are you expecting these? Not expecting these? Are the Lions on the right track? What do we got in here? We got 120 people in. And I should probably turn off the chat thing so everyone can get in there and chat. Just subscribe and you guys can chat. That's just the way it works. We need to gain a few more so we can give away a helmet. See, I don't want your subscription just because I want your subscription. I'm trying to give you guys something. I'm trying to give you a mini helmet like this one right here. Actually, I got boxes of them signed by Panay Sewell or Chris Spielman. Certificate of authenticity. From the #1 sports memorabilia, sports outlet, Pro Sports Zone in Livonia. And matter of fact, we will be there on Saturday the 7th. We are going to do a 2-hour power hour sale, and you'll get up to 25% off in the store. And if you know one thing about his store, he has all of the most amazing gear, merchandise, sign stuff, you name it, and he doesn't care. He'll give the whole store off at that rate just for you guys. And you're going to have to come in. You have to say the magical words, that you heard it from Rock Don. You spin the wheel. You'll get up to 25% off. There'll be a base rate off. I think it's at least 15 or 20%, but you can earn another 5% off or donate it to the Rock Don Cancer Foundation. We'll be doing that on the 7th. Be from 10:30 to 12:30. That way you guys can get in, get back home for the Michigan game, and there'll probably be something for other people for the rest of the day too. There'll be a standard discount, but the big discount will be in the morning, and we'll be doing a live podcast there in the morning. So I'd like to touch base with some fans. Come on, slide over, jump on air, talk about your Lions, and let's have some fun with it. So here's what I wanted to get into though. Is what's next. Let me refresh this page and see if we have any new updates here. I am so surprised by Mitchell Agood or Goody. Really surprised. So here's the rundown. You got 78 players on the list right now. 25 decisions looming for the Detroit Lions. You have Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, Nate Sudfeld, and Jake Fromm still on the roster. Like that's surprising. Like you would think that Jake Fromm is an easy one, but clearly there's something going on here that Brad Holmes might be having second thoughts about Nate Sudfeld. And Dan Campbell kind of said it today that the way that Hendon Hooker plays is kind of throwing a wrench in this for Nate. Because he offers something, quote Dan Campbell, he offers something different, which is legs, right? And his legs have, he's run all over the place in the preseason. What has he got, like 200 yards rushing in a couple of games? That's insane. Absolutely insane. This chat's flying. I'm not going to be able to keep up. I'll do my best. I will come back to it in just a moment. Matter of fact, let me welcome everybody in the chat because we got quite a few people in here. We got Tracy in here, and she's a member, and memberships are open. Appreciate you guys for joining the membership group. And we got Cake Man 1218 in the house. Bruce Morton's in here. Cake Man is another member. Who else is in here? We got Brett in the house. Nick P. Salty Pork Chops. Ed W's in the house tonight. Casey's with us. Superintendent Chalmers. Broski Bear. Broski Bear is also a member. Who else do we have? Michael Garrity, another member. Welcome in, Michael. We got Motor City Mania in the house. Sounds familiar. Ed W. We got Joseph Ostin. The Central Scrutinizer. Are you scrutinizing what is going on with the Lions tonight? I see you're saying something about the uniforms. Our uniforms are terrible. They should have never messed with last year's jerseys. You might be in your own boat on that one, because I think that everyone's pretty happy with the way the jerseys turned out. We got Celine 313 in here. Who else is in here tonight? Moonscar, Lion Blood 89, Chris Mason, and Savi. Who else? We got Perryman 247. And I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of names. J Mommy's in here. A lot of the regulars. Anthony Tottenham. Art Vandalay. And Mike P. Mike P's in the house too. Welcome everybody into Rock Down Detroit Lions. We got Tafka Day in here. I just noticed that. Doug Michael Rosine. A few other names that I missed. Appreciate you guys joining me tonight. So anyway, got 78 players left on the roster. You've got all 6 running backs minus Zonovan Knight so far. That one's not a surprise. Now, the thumbnail. What did I mean by the thumbnail with Brad Holmes and the way that he does his cuts? Why is it working? I'll be totally honest with you. I think that Brad Holmes has a strategy to this. Scott's in the house. I see you, Scott. Review the Lions. Detroit's in the house. That's a new name. Never heard that one before. DLR Van Halen's in the house. I had a member. So I think that Brad Holmes has a strategy to this, and I think a lot of teams do. I really do. But you're probably putting a mix of players that you want back. Cut them first. And the reason why is when there is a flurry, right? You've got a flurry of cuts, all day, all night tonight, and then tomorrow, a ton. You get those names out there, and there might be some names that get forgotten about that kind of fly underneath the radar a little bit, and then you're able to get them back. So I think the rule is, and I've tried to ask, and I've tried to get it clarified, and I cannot find the exact verbiage. All I get is boilerplate stuff. If you cut a player at noon today, let's just say at noon today, does that 24-hour clock start at noon today? And you've got to wait until noon tomorrow? Or do you have to wait until 4 p.m. on Tuesday for the clock to start? I don't know the answer. Does anybody know the answer? Has anyone been able to find the answer? You know what I'm saying? So if they start whatever the clock, whenever they get cut, I'm just using noon as a reference, Chris. The reason why I say that is because you cut Shane Zielstra almost like one of the first ones. There is no way you don't want Shane Zielstra back. You absolutely want Shane Zielstra back. But here I went and kicked myself in the teeth this morning and switched it up and switched off Parker Heast for Shane Zielstra. I fell into it. I stepped in a landmine because everyone else was taking Shane Zielstra, it appeared, and I was taking Parker the entire time. And now it appears that Parker might have a leg up on making this roster because of how great he is in blocking and his ability as an H-back and everything else that I saw. I let my vision test, right? My eye test. I didn't follow it. I didn't follow my gut on this one. So I shouldn't have done it. But I guess at any rate, I think that Brad Holmes has a little bit of strategy with this where he's releasing players that he probably wants back with a mixture of other players that he probably doesn't want back unless there's an option for them to come back to the practice squad. And it's kind of funny, like you'll see, who was it that was mentioned? It was Pat O'Connor. So you hear, okay, Pat O'Connor, per Aaron Wilson, the Lions want to sign him to the practice squad. Well, why would the Lions want to sign Pat O'Connor to the practice squad over somebody else? like a Mitchell Agudi or a Ty Summers or a Shane Zielstra or a Caden Davis? Like, why is there no following for the rest of those guys? Why only Pat O'Connor, who did absolutely nothing this entire training camp? It just doesn't make sense to me. Doug Michael Ruzine says Hogan Hatton is younger and a more usable special teams tackler and blocker. Yeah, I just didn't realize that there was that much of a battle there, Doug. I really didn't. I really didn't. I really thought that Daly was safe because it's just long snapper, man. And he's been phenomenal. He's been great. And tomorrow's going to be nuts, Trace. It's going to be absolutely nuts. All right, so you got 78 left. Running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki. And those are going to be the four that make it, in my opinion. There's no way that they're going to keep Jamar Jefferson and Jake Funk. Wide receivers, you still have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, Isaiah Williams. And I think that those four are locked. Therese Fountain might make this roster now. Maurice Alexander, like I mentioned this morning, is somebody that I thought, and I mentioned in the video, that I thought had an opportunity to make this roster. But with his early drops and fumbles and whatnot during the preseason, I kind of lost that love and feeling for the guy. I know, I did it again. That song's going to be stuck in your head. Isaiah's played his way onto this team. Like he is, I think he's going to be fun to watch. I really do. I think he's going to make a lot of plays for us, given the opportunity. Jelon Calhoun, Tom Kennedy, Maurice Alexander, Therese Fountain. That's your bottom four right now. Donovan Peoples-Jones and Caden Davis were the first two cut. And see, this is the part that I don't understand. Every year we go through this. So Caden Davis, I mean, he had a couple of moments, right? Donovan Peoples-Jones, he never showed up this year. He didn't. And it really blew my mind that it's like he forgot his chin strap, man. He just showed up every day without a chin strap on, so he couldn't work. It's just what it felt like. It's like he didn't want to be here. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know, why he just never got off the bus, man. R. Vandelay, Chris Mason, they agree. DPJ sucked, or DPJ seemed out of it. He did. He just didn't seem to have. He didn't seem to have anything, inside. No burning desire to want to make this roster. Maybe he feels that he's going to have a better opportunity somewhere. But I tell you what, the first thing they're going to be looking at is their tape. And when a rookie is telling you to go on the other side of the football field because you're lined up on the wrong side and the Lions got to burn a timeout, that is not going to look good at all. Shout out to Brent DeWitt, says Jeff Risdon said a while ago that Daly wasn't safe. I guess he was right. I don't listen to Risdon a whole lot. I don't read a whole lot of Risdon. I guess not. I'm not like prejudiced against him or anything. It's just, I just don't. I don't know why. I think I kind of get tied in to, kind of listen to a crowd of people. And then they just kind of pop up all the time for you, Salty Pork Chop says, Will, do you think the Dan Skipper's plan is in effect with the release of Zielstra? I mean, he did play a lot last year. So which plan are you talking about? Which plan are you speaking of, Salty? Because there's a couple of plans here. There's the one plan that the Dan Skipper invoked, I want to say it was last year or the year before, where the Lions cut Skipper under the premise that they were going to bring Skipper back. So he didn't go sign with somebody. Because he's got enough accrued seasons in the NFL, they decided to cut him, and then he came back. So that's kind of like that unwritten, deal, if you will, the unwritten contract, the handshake deal. And then you have the other one where you've got Skipper potentially being able to play a little bit of tight end. I don't think he's going to be anything close to Shane Zielstra, but there's that opportunity where you might see Skipper more involved in some of the offense that way too, not just a swing tackle. I never thought that Dan Skipper was in jeopardy of not making this team, especially because our offensive line, I have to be honest with you, you guys heard me this morning, I am not impressed. Well, you heard me Saturday night too. I'm not impressed with the way that our second and third team has performed this year. I'm actually quite nervous about it. I think that the Lions are going to be looking for some upgrades. And that might be part of the reason why some of these other players are going to get cut is they're going to make room. They're going to try to slide some guys to practice squad if they can, and then they're going to upgrade. Tight end, you still have Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Parker Hess, James Mitchell, and Sean McKeon. I think that the first three are obviously safe. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, I think Parker Hess is now in. If they keep James Mitchell over Zielstra, I would be surprised. Now, I think that, again, that's where that question gets asked. And I didn't pose this question or I didn't make this statement. I'm just going to reutilize it. Does Brad Holmes have an ego thing with his picks? Meaning, even though that some of these guys probably don't deserve to be on the team, he picked them, he's going to keep them. Even though there might be a player that could be better, I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. But you can't get attached, right? You cannot get attached to players. And I think Brad does an excellent job with that anyway, where he makes the right decision for the team. And you know what? He hasn't failed us. He really hasn't. So until he really fails us, I can't doubt what Brad Holmes is going to do. I really can't. The guy has put an amazing team on the field over the last couple of seasons. And we were so close to a Super Bowl opportunity. And I think that we're all in this year. I'm just really worried about the linemen right now. All right. Offensive tackle, we've got 6 still on the books. You have Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, Dan Skipper, Kobe Sorsdahl, and Giovanni Manu, and Jamarco Jones. So in the video that I did today, I mentioned Jamarco Jones, and with the moves with, Mahogany and a couple of other moves with some guys potentially going to IR. Earlier, we were talking about Iffy. We were talking about Broderick Martin. Those are 2 guys that could end up on IR still. And you would have to do something, I believe. I think Broderick Martin would have had to have been added to IR today. See, now I'm confused on that rule because the rule said that you had to have them. I think you had to have them on IR prior to camp. So that wouldn't work. So if you put Broderick Martin on IR now, then his season would effectively be done. And now but you can add 2 players. You can add 2 players to IR that can come back. Now, they did save a spot for Mosley, so there's still 1 spot open. Is it going to be Iffy or is it going to be Martin? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Rodrigo? And so all of these things that we don't know what's going on with these injuries, it kind of opens up some holes, man, and a can of worms at the same time. That's what's making it a little difficult this year. What's the message, Trace? What I miss? Casey says, I think people are conflating what Campbell said about Melifonwu, and he's likely fine. Yeah, I don't know. trading for a wide receiver. There's possibility. There is definitely possibility. Steve's having issues with the link for the mod chat. Okay, I will send after the show. I'll put another link together and send it out. If admin is on, then he can't join. So I'll have to make sure it's off. Yeah, so Nick P, no one knows really with Martin. So the issue is if it's a really bad hyperextension or a bone bruise, or there could be some ligament sprains in there, some muscle strains, you name it. Then yeah, it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So if he goes on IR, well then that just means you have him back by week 6. We've got our bye week in week 5. He'll be ready to go week 6. Not real sure what's going on there because we don't know. And the same thing with Iffy. He doesn't have a tear of the Achilles or a rupture, but what I'm understanding and what I've heard is that he might have the tendinopathy or tendinitis of the Achilles, and that can be worse because sometimes you're better off just tearing it. And then you go in and you surgically, repair it, and you're better for it. But that also takes an entire year. With the tendinopathy or the tendinitis, you're just consistently inflamed, and that's no way to play football because you will have zero stability. When you have an inflamed tendon and then the muscles and the fibers and everything, the nerves surrounding it, you don't have that same firm footing. You're not able to cut, and plant like you normally can. I'm not a doctor, but that's just going off the reading material that I dove into. So, and my son had the same thing. He had the tendinopathy, didn't have the tear. And that sidelined him for almost an entire baseball season. Martin has a bone bruise from the hyperextension. I've heard that mentioned. I never saw a definitive answer on that. I did hear that mentioned, though. Michael Rosine says MCDC sure didn't sound sure on Iffy. Yeah, he didn't sound sure. He actually said something like this. It was kind of when or if Ifeatu Melifonwu comes back, and it was the if that really threw me off. Like, you don't usually use those words unless you've already thought about a season without Ifeatu Melifonwu on your roster. Like there's that possibility that the injury is that bad. They haven't done anything yet. Maybe they're still trying to get answers, but Ifeatu Melifonwu was also out of the building for an entire week. He wasn't even back into the building. He also mentioned that, so I don't know what that means. Like, you get injured, that means you don't come into the building at all? Like, you don't come in for treatment? Nothing? That seems a bit odd to me. Doesn't that seem odd to you guys? That according to what he said, that he hasn't been in a week? That just seemed really odd. I don't know. So Brent, Ifeatu Melifonwu, he suffered that injury back in, I think it was against the Giants. Joint practice, potentially. I think it goes back that far. I don't think it was, like a bang play or anything. Matter of fact, I don't even remember the play. But I'm pretty sure it was during joint practice that he hurt his knee. Offensive tackles. So like I said, Jamarco Jones, look, he didn't play at all, really. I don't think at all on Saturday. And I thought that was really odd. Excuse me. I'm on 1 hour sleep, so I'm trying to hang in there. Jamarco Jones not playing on Saturday in the way that he played the week before and the experience that he has, granted, he didn't play a whole lot the last couple of seasons, might have told us that the Lions might be high enough on him where they didn't need to see anymore. And with some of the cuts that they've already made, well, that could mean that the Lions might keep one extra offensive tackle, and Jamarco Jones could be safe. I mean, at least right now, you've got 6 tackles listed in a room that you're probably not going to keep more than 9, is my guess. 9 overall offensive linemen. All right, interior offensive line. You still have Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow, Kevin Zeitler, Coyote Iwasaka, Michael Neese, Kingsley Aguakan, Duke Clemens, and Jake Burton. Jake Burton still on this roster. Christian Mahogany has been placed on NFI reserve, so he will be able to come back at any point in time after the first 4 weeks. I don't expect Christian Mahogany to come back anytime soon, to be honest with you. He's going to need some time to get ready. Yeah, we saw that, Eric. Quit rubbing it in. Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow, Kevin Zeitler, Iwasaka. I think that those guys are all safe. So then it's the question. So if you got those 4, and then you have the other 6, that's 10. But that could be your room. But you still might have room for either Michael Neese or Kingsley Aguakoon for now. One of those 2 could make it. And I guess then the question is, who are they going to find? Shh, Eric, come on now. Did I mention that? Come on now. Anyway, one of those guys could make this team, but then I think the Lions are going to be looking. I really do. I think that they're going to be looking on the waiver wires for some upgrades at the offensive line. Defensive tackle. Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi Unwazarike, Kyle Pecco, Broderick Martin, Makai Wingo, and Chris Smith are still safe as of this moment. And this list was updated just over an hour ago. So according to this list, there's been no changes. Clearly, Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi O, Kyle Pecco, Broderick Martin, Makai Wingo are all safe, in my opinion. Now, however Brad and Dan work this room, you know, if there's an IR that comes out of this or not, Broderick Martin would probably be the only guy. Now, they could still, from what I understand, which I don't know if the Lions have any plans to do this, they could have still put Aleem McNeil on the IR. So you take him off of NFI or off of PUP, whatever he was on, and then you could put him on IR. It's probably not going to happen. But there still was an opportunity. All right, what do we got? So we've got 85 likes in. We got 168 watching. So you guys have not seen one ad while you've been in here. And so just so you understand how this channel works, we pay for all of your ads while you are live. When you join us during the live shows, we cover all the ads for you. All we ask is you help us out with that like button. Just smash it. All you got to do is press your thumb for 1 second, pop out of the chat, go over there and press the like button. That helps us grow. It helps the channel get in front of more Lions fans and hit that algorithm across YouTube. And we will keep ads off. That's just how we roll here. We want to make sure that you guys have a seamless integration with the channel and that you don't have to worry about paying for premium. You just get to enjoy all the content when we have special guests on the show. No ads. That's just the way we roll. But I do have sponsors, and sponsors are near and dear to my heart because they do a lot for us. So I do got to hit a sponsor ad real quick. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. The season is here, and you want the latest news and rumors on your Detroit Lions. Head to sportspider.com. That's sports, SPYDER.com, where you can get your Lions news and all your sports in one place. Man, this site is packed with your favorite podcasts, live news, articles from local writers, and insiders, all updating in real time. Not just the Lions, every major sports team, including MMA, UFC,
and so much more. Don't want to waste time searching? Sign up for free. Create your ultimate sports news hub. You control what hits your feed at SportsSpider, your number one source for all your sports. Visit SportsSpider.com today, right after the show.
All right, and shout out to Sports Spider-Man. If you guys seriously want the best place to get all of your news, all of your favorite writers, all of your favorite podcasts, all of your favorite YouTubers are all on Sports Spider. And I mean everybody. So it's free. You don't have to spend a penny. Go to sportspider.com, check it out. You'll love it. I promise you. It's a great site. They claw everything in. They do an excellent job. So someone just mentioned, did we talk about Shane Zielstra? Yeah, we kind of touched on him in the very beginning. As far as Shane Zielstra and the whole tight end room, if you want to touch on it again, I really don't understand this move. I really don't. He missed all of 2023 with a knee injury, and it was a nasty knee. He was having a great camp, and I think it was Khalil Dorsey that took him out last year. Is that correct? It was Khalil Dorsey, right? And I mean, Zielstra was on his way. Like, he was having a phenomenal camp, and then he gets taken out. So he misses a whole season. He appeared in 13 regular season games in 2022. He was only targeted 15 times in 2022. He caught 4 touchdowns on 60 yards. You want to talk about somebody that had efficiency. He caught 4 TDs on 15 targets. Why on earth are we waiving this guy? To me, that's like waiving James Houston. The dude has a 25% sack rate. For every 4 reps he's in, he's getting a sack, it seems like. Or I'm sorry, pass rush win rate. So for every 4 reps, he's winning at least one. So that means probably on every 4 fourth downs or every 4 third downs that he's in, he's probably going to come up with a sack. There is nobody else that comes close to him on this team with that kind of efficiency. And matter of fact, there's not that many in the NFL that come close to him in efficiency. Now, those are stats that you can't ignore because those are stats that you can't fudge, you can't make up. And those are some of the stats that I look at when I start to evaluate players is their efficiency ratings. It's not so much all of the other tackles and how many sacks and because that stuff can be skewed. For instance, and I know we're supposed to be talking about Shane, and I'll come back to him, but for instance, you can have 3 or 4 sacks in a season that are just gimmies, where 2 or 3 guys get to the quarterback at the same time and someone just credits someone with a sack and they happen to always get the credit for the sack, or the quarterback's laying on the ground and you just had to run by and touch him. That's not really a sack. You know what I mean? So those numbers get really skewed. You've got to watch the game. You can't always live inside the stats. They tell a story, but the rest of the story really has to come from watching the tape and seeing how these guys perform. And when you look at an efficiency rate, and you see a guy that's winning a quarter of his reps, that's insane. Like the best to do it last year, like the top 20 to do it last year, defensive ends like the Myles Garretts, the Aiden Hutchinsons, the Bosas, the Parsons, all these other great players in the NFL. Hardly any of them hover in 25% range. A lot of them are between 18 and 22%. I think Garrett was up in the 30% at one point, but those numbers start to come back down to reality. Lee McNeil was up there for a minute until he got injured. He was a top 10 defensive tackle, and his win rate was pretty solid. I think Aiden Hutchinson finished somewhere around 17% or 16% for the season, which isn't terrible. It's still good, especially when you have as many opportunities as he had. But for a guy like James Houston, who's just like a sub-specialist, someone that just comes in to get you a sack, to get you out on a third down, that's what I think about when I think of a Shane Zielstra. He's a guy that you can depend on, in the red zone, You know, maybe it's 3rd and 1 and you're at the 12-yard line and you know the guy can go catch a TD. So it's a little bit weird to me that we're even talking about Shane getting cut on the first damn day. But that's where I'm going to revert back to the thumbnail. I think that Brad Holmes is savvy with how he cuts guys so that he can give himself as much of an opportunity to bring these guys back on the practice squad. All he has to do is clear waivers, right? That's it. As long as, you know, the player has to clear waivers, that's all they have to do. Tafka Day, that's a great statement. He says, I think that the Lions have more than enough versatility or versatile players on the defense that they can afford a specialist like Houston. I would wholeheartedly agree. 1,000%. And it's not like he can't play, you know, on 3 downs. He's just not that great in coverage. I mean, so you're going to go up against some teams where you might be in a nickel more often. You might have an extra linebacker in there at times. What's to say that's not James Houston? You know, there might be different packages that you're drawing up for different teams where you might need James Houston more often than not. So I agree, man. I think that James isn't going anywhere, though. Bucky says Craig Reynolds is heavily overrated. I think he's rated for what he does. You know what I mean? I think he's just solid. I think he's solid in special teams. He's a good blocker. Sometimes he's a little suspect in pass blocking, but he's a good blocker, you know, leading out in front, getting downfield or upfield, however you want to look at it. Yeah, and that block definitely wasn't overrated versus the Bucs there in what was that, week 5? I think it was week 5. That was a heck of a block. All right, so linebacker. We're going to move on to linebacker here. No, I'm sorry, defensive end. Defensive end right now we have Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, Josh Paschal, James Houston, Isaac Ukwu, Matty Betts, and John Kaminsky is expected to go on IR. Now, to me, this is a wasted move. I love John Kaminsky. I think he's a glue guy. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I think he's a phenomenal football player for the Detroit Lions. I just don't understand wasting an IR designation on a guy that probably has slim to none chances to come back this year. Like, roll the dice. You know what I mean? Cut him. He's not going anywhere. Who's going to pick him up? So they're probably going to utilize their other IR designation on John Kaminsky with the ability of having him come back, which is going to leave you with 6 guys. And I think all 6 of these guys are now safe. I think that Aiden Hutchinson, Davenport, Paschal, Houston, Ukwu, and Betts are on this team. I think that Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi O, Kyle Pecco, Broderick Martin, and Mekhi Wingo are on this team. And I think that Chris Smith could be the last odd man out on the defensive tackle or in the defensive tackle room. And that would leave the Lions with 12 defensive linemen, if my math is right. So you still might see one more go. I think the Lions would probably settle somewhere between 11 and 12. In the linebacker room, you've got Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maben, Ben Nyman, Abraham Buplan, and Joel, I just call him Iwi because I can't pronounce his last name. I do not believe we're keeping 8 linebackers. I think that the number is somewhere between 5 and 6. And I would say that your top 3 are safe. Anzalone, Campbell, and Barnes. And Jalen Reeves-Maben, I mean, there's no way this guy's getting cut after getting the bag that he got. And then there's Malcolm Rodriguez, who's injured right now, and there's just not a whole lot of information on Malcolm. He might have suffered the injury in the joint practice. I don't think it was iffy. So back on August 1st, Malcolm Rodriguez avoided a scare, but according to this article, see, the Lions lost 2 players that day. And the good news was that linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez appeared to avoid an injury scare. He left the practice for several minutes and then was seen favoring his right arm, but was then later cleared to finish practice. There was no injury update from the team after practice. I don't know if that's what Eric was talking about this morning. I thought that was a different player he was talking about with an arm. So I'm not real sure what's going on with Malcolm right now. This one's a little bit of a mystery. Now, if you remember last year, or was the year before, he had an arm injury. And I'm wondering if it's creeping back up. He was wearing that funny brace. Now, the Lions did get a lot of players back over the last 24 hours, like Ennis Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold, and a whole host of players came back ready to go. So I think about 95% of our starting cast is going to be ready to go for week 1, as long as we don't suffer any more injuries. I wish I knew more on Malcolm. Something just doesn't add up here as to why, he's... I just don't get it. So I had him going to IR only because I don't know what the heck's going on injury-wise. Now, Ben Nyman, I think that he's done enough to make this team. And I really think that Abraham Beauplan really screwed things up for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. I think that he was too good. Definitely comes with some really good experience. And I think that the way that he played, he damn near played his way onto this team in one game. One preseason game. And I think that's really going to throw a wrench into, what the Lions are going to do. I did not have Beauplan on my final 53, but I'm just telling you, I think that he's going to be one of the tougher cuts for these guys. And hopefully he comes back on a practice squad. I would love to see him stick around. I really would. The last few positions here. You now have cornerback room. We got 9 guys. Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson, Ennis Rakestraw, Cleo Dorsey, and Kendall Vildor, Stephen Gilmore, Essang Bassi, and Javelin Goudry. From the bottom up, you've got Emmanuel Mosley, who is going to be placed on IR with the return eligibility. You guys have heard me. I think that is a giant mistake. But I'll let Brad do what he does. Javelin Goudry, not that I have a choice. Javelin Goudry and Essang Bassi. Look, Essang Bassi was impressive to me. Just a little bit too little too late. If he would have been here 4 weeks ago, I think that he would have been competing with Kendall Vildor. Stephen Gilmore, I think that those 3 guys are going to be cut by tomorrow. And I think the Lions will keep Vildor, Dorsey, Rakestraw, Robertson, Arnold, and Davis. And that'll be your 6 cornerbacks for the season, with Emmanuel Mosley having an option to return. Safety room, we still have 7 right now. You got Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Efetu Melifonwu, who has unknown injury issues right now. At least no timetable. Brandon Joseph. You have Lauren Strickland, CJ Moore, and Jalen Garnes. From the bottom up, I'm pretty sure that Jalen Garnes is going to be cut by tomorrow. CJ Moore and Lauren Strickland, if there's an argument to be made here, there's an argument between those two guys. I think that Brandon Joseph, Kirby Joseph, and Brian Branch are safe. And depending on what happens with Fetu Melifonwu, could mean that Lauren Strickland makes this team. Otherwise, I think that the Lions are probably going to keep 5 at the safety position. But again, it's really going to depend on what they do at some other positions. Isn't this fun? Isn't it fun just guessing what in the hell Brad Holmes is doing right now? He's got a giant board like this that I have, that I got ready for the season. And he's just got all these magnets, and he's picking players and putting them in position, and then guys get cut, and then they shuffle everything up. They're going to be up for the next 2 days. Specialist, I think that, we already know what's going on here. Jack Fox, Jake Bates, and Hogan Hatton, who clearly won the position today. I don't think Strickland was cut. If he was, he's not off this list. So Pride of Detroit's got to update. According to Pride of Detroit, they said that their list is updated consistently. Summers was cut. You had Wild Goose was cut. No Strickland, at least that I can see. See if we have any other news here. Oh, we have an ex-offensive lineman. The Matt Nelson was cut by the Giants. Go figure. I said last year that he needed to go. So there you go. There's another opportunity for that offensive line. You could see Matt Nelson back. Here's the big point that I want to make for all of this. This is going to be the most difficult cuts the Lions have had to make since Brad and Dan have taken over this team. And that is a good thing. We are going to lose some good players. And a lot of these players are going to end up on other teams. We're not going to have the luxury unless, these players can, make the decision for themselves, which means that they've accrued enough seasons that they are truly free agents. They are not going to be able to make the decision of where they want to go. And when that happens, the agents get involved and they could really care less. They're all about making their money. And I feel like they need to do what's right by the player. If the player wants to stick around and they know that they have an opportunity to stick around, I think they just need to let the player do what they do. And I think that's why agents are going to get phased out probably over the next 10 to 15 years. I don't think there's going to be that many more agents in the game. I think that these players are going to be self-run, self-managed, and it's probably the way it should be, especially with the way these contracts are. You might have a few, big firms around that handle the big time, free agents, the big money deals. But I think, the general run-of-the-mill type deals, these things are pretty well spelled out. I still can't believe the Lions cut our leading tackler in the preseason. Mitchell Agudi is the Tom Kennedy of the defense this year. Really, really unfortunate. But Isaac Uku was exciting. He really was. Really, really, really was. And should be. Hopefully he sticks around. So. All right, now we're up for questions and call-ins. Does anybody want to call in tonight and talk about the Lions? Yeah, I don't think Uku is going to be cut there, John. I don't think so, man. I think that he's going to stick around. I really like the work that he did. Hold on a second. All right. Well, I don't know who that was. I thought it was somebody calling in to talk on the show, but I guess not. All right. So I will leave the phone line open for like the next, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm probably going to skate. So if you guys would like to call in, there is the number. If you want to voice your opinion about the cuts that you've seen so far, give it a ring. Come on in and talk to us about your Detroit Lions and the ensuing cuts that are yet to happen and the cuts that have happened. And where do you see this Lions team for this season? Where do you see us finishing? I'd love to know based on what you've seen so far. 313-312-0348. Again, that's 313-312-0348. Brent DeWitt says, Fromm might not last on the practice squad. Sudfeld will last there for years. Poor Sudfeld. You know, he's getting just ripped apart by Lions fans right now. That poor guy. I try not to say the Suckfeld and all that stuff, but he wasn't that great, man. And he never was. I mean, he's had a couple of decent days in a Lions uniform, but I've yet to see the guy do anything that impresses me, like really impresses me. And J Mommy says Super Bowl. Doug Michael Ruzine says I'd gamble on Fromm. I would too. I absolutely would like to see Fromm stick around. And I like I said earlier, I think that Fromm did enough to really make this difficult for the Lions. I don't think that they want to keep three. I really don't. I think that's the last thing they want to do, is have to keep a third quarterback because you don't have enough faith in your second or your third quarterback. I think that Hendon Hooker did enough that, you know, give him a little bit more time and he can win you some games. I think that he just showed us that he could win some games. And let's be honest here. He's not playing behind the number ones. You put the number ones in front of Hendon Hooker and he is not going to be under that much pressure where he's going to have to make some bad decisions like he was. He still may have some bad decisions, but it's not going to be, you know, consistent like it was during the preseason games. There you go. Southwest Line 26 is right. Make him an assistant quarterback coach. That's what I was saying. But I just don't see Sudfeld wanting to hang it up, because if he hangs it up, he's done for a year. So if you do take a coaching position and you're a player right now and you take a coaching position, you have to stay out of football for an entire year. And Southwest Line 26 says, yeah, and Fromm did it without any practice time or familiarity with the Lions playbook. That was impressive. It was impressive. I mean, he picked up the playbook really quickly. Yeah, he did. Mike P says that MCDC talked up Fromm today in the press conference. He did. I think his exact phrase was that he made it interesting. John Taylor says, I'm trying to call. Phone hasn't rang, buddy. I mean, let me just double check that this stupid. Oh, yeah, it's saying I've got missed calls, but I didn't hear it ring. Why is it not? What's going on here? Is the ringer off? Yup. The ringer was off. Go ahead and call back, John. My apologies. Yeah, we had a whole bunch of calls there. It just had another missed call. It didn't even ring. What is going on here? Let me just make sure something stupid is not on. Do not disturb is off. I'm just going to call back the last caller. Hold on one second.
Of Ameritech Pest Control Services.
Nope, sorry about that. All right, so we should have SW Lion on the line. I apologize. I don't know what is going on with the phone. I don't know why it's not ringing. It's ringing, but it's not ringing. So we got you on the horn tonight, SW Lion. What's happening?
It's no problem, Will. Yeah, I just thought I would check in. I've been, away from things for a while, but we're getting ready to start up the regular season where the games count. So I'm going to be tuning in a lot more to your stuff.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about, about some of the cuts that the Lions have made and, the backup quarterback situation. I was surprised by, Zylstra, Daly. I mean, those are probably the two that stand out for me. I mean, I think it's interesting that they're going to give this Hogan Hatton kid a shot at being the long snapper. And as far as Zylstra, I guess they're saying that they still see something in James Mitchell.
Yeah, I haven't read anything about James Mitchell, and you know what's crazy is like he just hasn't ever shown up. Ever. I wonder if there's something to the Hogan Hatton thing. Like, does he spin the ball differently? Does Jake Bates like that ball versus another ball? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, from what I've heard, he's pretty athletic. He's going to have some versatility. I know the Lions like that a lot. They like players who can play multiple positions. But on the other hand, you need a reliable long snapper. So hopefully he's going to be good at that. I mean, that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shane Zylstra and Daly being the biggest concerns for you out of today's cut. So out of the players that we have left, who do you see is the next biggest concern that if they were to get cut, that would be shocking, I guess, to you?
Well, I mean, there are certain players. I mean, James Houston, for instance. I know that some people maybe don't feel like he's developed any further from when he had that great multi-sack year. But I still think he has that ability in him. And I think if they cut him, he would be snapped up. I would keep Houston.
Yeah, I definitely would keep Houston too.
And I would also keep Jake Fromm over Sudfeld. I mean, with respect to Sudfeld, I assume they see value in him off the field because it can't be what he's done on the field. He's probably good in the quarterback room. He's probably good at, maybe analyzing things and helping Goff be more prepared. And I can understand them, maybe not feeling like Hooker is ready to be the backup. And I'm not sure if he is honestly either. But Hooker has upside. He's got a lot of room to develop. We've seen Sudfeld. We know what he can do. And there's not a team in the league, I'm convinced, that would sign him to their 53-man roster. On the other hand, he just steps in. He doesn't get any preparation. No practices, no familiarity with the playbook. He goes out there like he's the guy that's been with the Lions for 3 years, not Nate Sudfeld.
Well, I thought it was pretty damning against Sudfeld that you got a guy that hasn't been on the team, doesn't have 9 years of service in the NFL, and he comes in and he goes 6 for 8, 89 yards in the last half of the fourth quarter or whatever it was. I mean, it looked like the guy's been here, like you said, the entire time. And
for Dan Campbell to talk him up like that, in my mind, that's a signal that they are going to keep him because. Even without Dan Campbell saying anything, anybody that watched that game, it's like, wow, that's pretty impressive. He knew it was important to go out there and play well. He knew what it meant to do that. And he was able to do it. And I think that's impressive.
Yeah, I do too. Well, we got a big season ahead. Do you have any early lines on what you think the Lions are going to be able to do this season? Do you have a prediction for the record?
Well, let's put it this way. What they accomplished last year, barring a second half collapse where everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, they would have made the Super Bowl. They just every possible thing that they could do wrong, they managed to do.
Yeah, they sure did.
They came up a little short. This is rarefied air for them. This is new. This is a new experience for all of us. I mean, it's been over 60 years since the Lions have won 2 consecutive postseason games.
Right.
So, there's very high expectation, and they've got a tough schedule. But you know what? If anybody can prepare them for that, it's Dan Campbell. And I think they're going to have a great year. It's going to be tough, but I certainly think they have the potential to make it to the Super Bowl this time.
Well, I do too, man. I think it's I don't want to be the guy that says Super Bowl or bust, but I will say this. There is not many teams in the NFL that are put together as well as the Detroit Lions, and there is no reason outside of injury that the Detroit Lions shouldn't have another really strong season back in the postseason. In our home field advantage, man, preseason games, we are causing Pittsburgh to have false starts. If we can get all three games at home and potentially a first round bye, we're in the Super Bowl. We will not lose at home.
And I also think the addition of, what's his name, Terrell Williams as defensive line coach, I think we're going to see much better productivity from the defensive line. I think there's going to be more sacks where they're not having to always rely on the blitz. So,
yep.
I'm optimistic about that too.
I firmly believe in that statement too, man. I think Terrell Williams is going to show us a few things that we are missing from last year, and it's going to be uniqueness. We're going to be able to be different. We're not going to have to be, always bottled up. It seemed like we relied heavily on the blitz, and it failed us because we were getting eaten alive over the middle, sending everybody in. So very good to have you back, man.
Yeah, good to talk with you, Will, and I'll be checking in throughout the season.
Appreciate you, buddy. Take care, man.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so John, if you're still in with us, John Barfield, the phone line's open for you. So I've got it brought up on the computer now, so I shouldn't have to worry. I don't know why it's not answering. Like it's ringing, but it's not ringing. So it's kind of weird. But I've got it brought up on the computer. If you want to try to give it a ring, go for it. Of course, everybody would love to hear what you got to say. I'm going to check the tracker here. Well, wait. There we go. We got a call coming in. All right, this is Will with Rockdown Detroit Lions. Who do I have on the line? Uh-oh. Hold on.
Dylan, am I
Oh, now I can hear you.
still on? Oh,
You're
somebody else called after me.
You're cutting out a little bit.
I thought somebody else called after me.
Oh, I don't know. Is this Braylon?
Yes.
Hey, Braylon, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. So what was your biggest surprise of the day today, man, so far?
The cutting of Scott Daly, that was very surprising. That is kind of disheartening because I'm like, if we can go on that Super Bowl run, I at least want him to get a ring before he goes to another team.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what's going on between Hatton and Daly. Like I had my eyes were completely off that race. So that one was a little surprising to me too, but just being a long snapper, I guess I'm not going to worry about it a whole lot, but what did you think about Zielstra? I haven't caught any of your comments. Did you
Zilster was pretty shocking as well because I'm like, I don't see how James Mitchell should get the edge over Zilstra. James Mitchell sucks if I'm being honest.
He really hasn't done much.
I thought because I was at the preseason game, I'm like, he had a ball right in his hands and he dropped it.
Right.
Like, dude, why are you still on the team?
Right. So with the guys that we have left, I'll ask you the same question that I asked Peter there. With the guys that we have left, yet to be cut, who would be a guy that you want to see go for sure, and who's a guy that you want to see stay? That's not a name starter already.
I don't want to name a certain. I kind of don't want to name a certain someone because I don't want to jinx it.
Okay.
I want. I'm probably gonna say it anyway, but I want Isaac Ukwu to still be on this roster.
Right.
When I want to go, I'm sorry. We gotta stop living in the past. James Houston gotta go.
Oh man, really? Even though that he has probably
we gotta
one of
stop
the,
living in the past, bro.
even though he has one of the best pass rush win rates. Someone, whoever was just calling in, you have to call back in just a moment. As soon as Braylon hangs up, I'll free up the line. I don't have the call conferencing set up tonight, so I can't I could put it on hold, but I wouldn't know how to get you off hold just yet. James Houston has one of the best pass rush win rates in the entire league. And I don't think I don't think that's a mistake.
There is a reason why Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn are trying to expand his repertoire. He's got to wear like multiple hats on the defensive end.
It's true. It's very true. I think that they did the same thing with him that they've tried to do with some of the other players, where they try to expand, being a one-trick pony into being a more versatile outside linebacker. And
say versatility is everything in the I believe it's everything in the football sense.
Yeah, no, and I would agree, but let me ask you this, Braylon. If you have 53 guys on a team and 45 of them are versatile, do you really need James Houston to be versatile too? You know what I'm saying there?
When you put it like that, not really.
Because I think that we have a ton of guys on this team that are very versatile. And I think that, if they keep doing that, they keep looking for guys that can wear multiple hats. I think that's a great way to assemble a roster in the beginning. But when you get towards now it's time to produce, like now you're ready to take the next step. Now you need guys that can just do their job, and just that job is the only job that matters. In my opinion. I know you probably have a different opinion, and that's okay.
My bad. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say that I feel like if you have a guy like a James Houston that can get to the quarterback and he's extremely successful, that every, 4 or 5 or 6 snaps that he's in a ball game, that he's getting the pressure or getting to the quarterback or causing disruption. And now he's playing next to guys like Marcus Davenport and, DJ Reader, with Lee McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson on the field. That is an extremely talented and versatile defensive front where all he has to do is rush the passer. That's all he has to do. Set the edge and rush the passer. That's it.
point is that Matthew Betts and Isaac Ukwu have been able to do multiple things at once. I think Betts been on special teams a couple times. I don't know if I've seen him personally because I'd be focused on other things.
Yeah, so John in the chat, I've got Braylon on. Can you guys not hear me? I just heard someone say that they can't hear me. Daniel Highborn says he can't hear me.
Oh.
Hold on a second. Perryman247 says he can't hear anything. Hold on here.
Your screen, your thing cut out?
I'm not sure. Can you guys hear now? I don't know what's going on. We got bugs tonight with the call-in system apparently.
You been muted or something?
I don't know. Everyone else is saying that they can hear it. So they said it went low for half, and then I don't know. I guess it's all. I guess it's all good now.
Was on SW line was on. His call volume was a little low. I could barely hear him.
Yeah, I try to bump him up a little bit. So biggest surprises for tomorrow. If you had to name a big surprise, what would be a big surprise for you?
Big surprise. I want to kind of want to make a statement about the receiver room, but
go for it.
Biggest surprise. Like I said, Isaac Ukwu not making a roster.
Yeah,
Caden Davis not being on this roster, I was kind of sad about.
The Caden Davis.
Like we could have used him.
There's always potential.
Pretty slim.
There's always potential that he can come back.
Oh, I hope he does. It's saying that DPJ was a bad investment, and he's have a job, so guess I was proven right. All I have to say is, I bet that 2 years, $14 million for Josh Reynolds was looking pretty decent right about now, huh?
You ain't lying, man. I don't understand that one. I think that Josh Reynolds wanted out. I think the fans got at him too much.
Despite the title game, he earned his contract.
Yeah, he did. He did. And now Jameson Williams is going to have to step up and do twice as much as what Josh Reynolds did. So, all right, I'm going to get to the next caller, Braylon. I appreciate you joining the Rockdown Detroit Lions tonight. And you've been a day oneer, man. Always appreciate you being part of the shows. And we'll see you in the next one, buddy.
Thanks, you too.
All right, man. We'll see you. That was Braylon Dennis. He wanted Caden Davis on this squad. And a big surprise for him is if Isaac Ukwu does not make this team. All right, John Barfield. Now call in. John Barfield, give us a ring. And I should be able to answer it now. I think we're starting to get some of these things figured out. I don't know why we had some issues earlier. It happens. We're in the beginning of the season. We really haven't taken a ton of phone calls probably for the last 4 or 5 months. And whenever that happens, we get these little bugs. So we're good to go. We're waiting for you, John. So if you guys all heard what Braylon was saying there, Josh Reynolds, man, that contract is looking real sexy right now. My biggest surprise for tomorrow is if we end up with 4 wide receivers on this roster. That is going to surprise the hell out of me. 4 wide receivers. If that happens, who are we shopping for? That's all I want to know. Because they're going to make something happen. And I hope that they make it, a big enough impression that it's a big enough splash, because this early in the season, every team, at least you would like to think that every team thinks that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, right? At the very beginning. But there is a handful of teams that they just know they ain't got it. They just know. So there's a handful of teams out there that are going to be sellers right now. and I'm not sure without, combing through all the cut sheets that I will tomorrow morning and tonight of who's going to be available. I won't really have a good idea just yet. So far, according to this list, it has not been updated since 6:35 p.m. There are no new cuts. Has anybody else seen anything? Oh, you're talking about the Dries Fountain tweet, Eric? Yeah, I saw that a couple hours ago. I'm not real sure what that means. Does that mean that he's getting cut, or does that mean he's safe? Not real sure on that one. I guess it can go either way. Okay, we have no news is good news right now, I guess. All right, now we've got another caller. Hopefully this is John. This is Will with Rockdown Detroit Lions. Who do I have on the line tonight?
Well, this is John Barfield. Good to hear from you, man.
John, we got you. You're live. Appreciate you calling back for about the 16th time.
No problem. I'm Detroit born and bred, but I've been living in Nashville for a long time now.
Awesome, man.
So I'm out here in Tennessee, but I follow the Lions religiously. Wasn't able to get up there for camp this year, but I keep in touch.
Well, you tell me, man.
So,
You've been born and bred in Detroit, so this is your team, right? That blood just doesn't go away.
Oh, absolutely.
You're excited, man.
And like the last caller, I was a little miffed about Zylstra because I thought that he had put in enough. But we've got three solid tight ends, and I'm not counting Mitchell in that, even though I like Mitchell. I just think that he's the odd man out. And I was thinking they were going to carry four, but I'm okay with them carrying three.
So who are your three right now? So you've got Laporta, Wright, and who?
Laporta, Wright.
And Parker, right?
And Hess.
Yeah, Parker Hess.
Parker Hess. Yeah, and I think what the issue is probably blocking. I mean, I haven't really watched the games just for one player and one type of thing. Usually I'm looking, for other things, but I wasn't really watching Zylstra's blocking. But I'm not going to just harp on Zylstra. I'm really concerned about that second unit of the offensive line.
Yeah.
And especially in that first quarter, it was brutal. They were just coming right through there. It was just an open gate. So I'm thinking that as they're making these hard cuts, like Agude, I thought Agude was there, but if they're cutting guys like him, to me that means they're going to go out and look for people from other teams once they start making cuts. Because I know that second unit was not good enough to be backing up the first unit. So, there's I think Nice is gone, and Agulkin, I really didn't see him being strong enough to back up a Ragnow. I thought both of them kind of failed, and Mahogany's out with injury. Jamarco Jones, people have been talking about positively, but and I thought Sorsdahl didn't do so good yesterday. So, I mean, not yesterday, but Saturday. I was disappointed in Sorsdahl's performance. So, I'm thinking that the second unit, that they may have to go out and get at least a backup center and maybe one more guard to kind of shore up that second unit on the offensive line.
So I would agree with all of that. I'm less concerned about the center because we still have Graham, but I think that you're spot on there with finding another guard, because if you can find another guard that can back up Kevin or Graham, then Graham can always slide down to center if there's an issue with Ragnow. But Dude, you're not lying, man. Our second team offense, the offensive line, excuse me, it just did not look well put together. They look like they were on skates up against Pittsburgh's defense, and that's not good. And I just hope that our guys stay healthy. It's just unlikely that we're going to get that lucky that our offensive line stays healthy the entire season.
And I'll tell you an unpopular opinion also. I watched those first couple of preseason games, and Sudfeld in that first preseason game was apprehensive. You could tell he was afraid to make a mistake. And somebody coached him up near the end of the game, and he got better. He's not good, but he's not the dog that people are making him out to be. I'm okay with him. If he gets cut, I'm fine with that. Because I thought Fromm came in and did enough that if Fromm is our third guy, I'm good with that. But I thought that Nate Sudfeld was getting a bum rap because I think that he's just sometimes you try to protect the bag a little bit too much, and you're afraid that if you make a mistake, that you're going to get cut right there, and they're not going to fly you back with the team. They're just going to leave you on the side of the road, and that's what he played like.
Yeah.
So it was like he was playing out of fear, and once he let go of that fear, I think once Hendon Hooker got hurt that game, he came back and actually had a great game in that second preseason game. So it was like once that pressure was off of him, he was able to come in, be more decisive. It was the decision making that he was doing. His pre-snaps reads weren't really there early on, but once he really got a sense of it, and I think once the line was going 2s on 2s and 3s on 3s, I think once things were kind of evened up, he was better. But I didn't think he was necessarily good. I just thought he got better.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with all of that. So, Sudfeld, I think that he did just need, there's something going on with my audio. He needed for some reason to, I don't know what is going on with my audio. Give me 1 second here.
Go ahead.
For some reason, Nate was playing scared. And when he did come in that second preseason game there, he did settle down. And that was nice to see that he was able to settle down, but he still put too much out there, in my opinion, that was just god awful. And that's what scares me, is that when you're in a high pressure situation, that's the Nate Sudfeld we're gonna get. Is rattled as a quarterback could be. That was Nate Sudfeld that night. That's why we can't lose a guy like Jared Goff. That guy is as cool as a cucumber, man. I mean, Jared just does not get rattled.
He does not. And I thought Fromm, when he came in, he didn't get rattled. The moment was not too big for him. Coming in off the street, he just really was poised. That's who I'd rather see. You're going to have Goff as a mentor for Hooker. If Fromm is a mentor for Hooker, I think that would be a better mentor.
Yeah. No, I liked what Fromm was putting down, man. He came in, cool, collected, and had good control. He, for someone that didn't spend any time with this offense at all, didn't even know these guys' names. Yeah, he really did a great job, just commanding that offense and that huddle. And he made the reads, unlike Nate Sudfeld. He was able to make the reads. Now, granted, he was up against some 3s, a handful of 2s, but there were some 3s in there too that, he was going up against. So I do take that into consideration. But at the end of the day, I just don't want to see either one of those guys have to take the field. I think that's that's what we're praying for.
Yeah. Can I throw one more thing out there? I don't want to dominate your time.
Go for it.
I know you probably got other people trying to call in.
No, go for it.
Bowl plan. Is he still on?
Bowl plan has not been cut yet.
Okay. I really like what Beauplan has been doing out there. He's just a really physical linebacker. And but I'm okay with him getting cut if they give if they give Reeves Maben and Rodrigo opportunities to back up the Sam linebacker. If they get their opportunities to come in as Sam, I'm okay with that. But I thought Beauplan was really playing well as a linebacker and was filling the gaps. When you play kind of a gap style of defense, the linebackers have to come in and fill the gaps, and so that's why we were doing so good last year on defense, because the main guys in the middle held up the middle. We run a wide nine with the defensive ends, and so that kind of clogs everything up on the line to just like a log jam. And then if you're able to hold that edge and run that guy out to the sideline, we don't get beat to the sideline that often. So our middle linebackers are sideline to sideline kind of guys. Anzalone and Jack Campbell, both of those guys will go sideline to sideline. But I think that Houston gets a bad rap because he's much more physical than people give him credit for. And he's just disruptive. And I think because he wears long shirts over his arms, he doesn't look athletic, or he doesn't look like he's just like ripped like some of these guys that are out there with with their arms all out and everything. He looks like he's not athletic, but he is.
Right.
Faster than you think he is, and he just gets in there and wrecks shop. So like you said, you put him in there with a DJ Reader, a Lee McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, and Houston can come in and even with Onwuzurike, when Houston and Onwuzurike both get their chances, they're going to do something with it.
Yeah,
So
I have big faith in James Houston. I really do. And to make a quick comment on Beauplan here, so he had an opportunity with the Vikings last year, and I believe that he ended up having some sort of an injury designation at some point with the Vikings. But you're a product of your mentors and your teachers, right? And he was around guys like Daniil Hunter, and to be able to sit back and watch a guy like that work, I'm sure that Beauplan picked up a few things. Now, I'm not saying he's a Daniil Hunter clone or anything like that, but you pick up things, that the guys are putting down. And the more you surround yourself with good guys like that, excellent football players, you're going to sponge a few things from them that you can implement into your game. And I saw some of that tenacity out of Abraham the other night, man. I mean, he was playing fierce, wild all over the field, trying to get in on every tackle, try to put himself in the right position. And again, another guy that joins this team late and picks up the defense quickly. So you speak to guys that are smart. He's clearly somebody that the Lions have probably had their eye on for a little while at least to join this team. It was just the right opportunity. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think Brad is going to use the injuries that we do have to hold on to a few guys just a little bit longer. I think that's going to be the strategy for some of the guys that are injured right now, like Broderick. I don't know how long he's going to be out with his injury, but that may give them an opportunity to hold on to one or two more guys here and there to give them another couple of weeks to try to get on.
Yeah. Well, we've got a swift less than 20 hours to go before we know who our team is. What's your prediction for the season? And then I'll let you run.
Man, it's hard to predict. I've got the whole season laid out, and I'm just looking at. I've been watching some of these other games. I watched Houston and who did they play? Well, anyway, I just watched the Houston game and the Rams. Just trying to get nuggets of information. But boy, it's hard to predict these games. When I tell you, I look at the schedule and I see us running the table, and I know that's not going to happen. That we probably lose 2 or 3. Some people say 5, but I could see us legitimately being 14-3, 15-2. Depends on whether they cheat us in Dallas again.
Yeah, Dallas. Dallas is kind of imploding now. They did they did sign CD Lamb today.
I saw that, but they also lost their running back.
Oh, really?
So they're starting over at running back. Tony Pollard went to the Titans.
Oh boy.
And then they got what's his name, Ezekiel Elliott back.
Right.
So I guess they're counting on Elliott, but is he the same player? I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't think so either. But time will tell. This time around, we got to keep the game away from the Cowboys. We can't even let them be close. But John, appreciate you calling in. Have a good night,
no problem.
man.
I appreciate you taking me on.
Yeah.
Hey, you have a good one, man.
Anytime, man. Call back anytime.
Appreciate the show.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I apologize about these audio issues. I'm trying to figure out why when I have a call come in, my audio wants to do this audio ducking, and it's only through this app that I'm using. So I just got to figure out a better way to bring it in. And when I figure that out, it'll probably be tomorrow. I'll have to figure out how to reroute that so that the audio ducking does not kick in, because it is definitely not a setting that I'm trying to use. And anytime that I've used my phone in the past, it's always been fine, but it was not ringing. So I just figured that out too. There was a bad setting that was set. Just got to make sure that that's turned off. Okay. All right. I think that I'll be good moving forward. I'll just have everything routed through the phone. Should be good to go there. But hey, we're about 10 minutes away from 9 p.m. We got in a lot more than I expected. Tomorrow is going to come extremely early for someone that's only on 1 hour of sleep. And I still have a lot of work to do. Still no new cuts that I'm seeing. I don't know if you guys have seen anything popping yet, but let me scan the old Twitterverse and see if we have any news. Yeah, these last updates that I'm getting here. Last updates that I'm getting here are hours old. There's really not much happening. So that could be it for tonight. There could be some late ones tonight. But plan on tomorrow. It's going to be a flurry. And then, of course, by 4 p.m., we will not know the full schedule. It has never happened yet in all the time that I've been following it and paying attention to it. We have never had the full roster at 4 p.m. So don't plan on it, but we will still plan to be live to cover it and see if we get lucky. And then, according to Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes is going to address the fans on Wednesday. I believe on Wednesday is when Brad Holmes is going to address the media and let us know why he did what he did. So I'm looking forward to it. I love listening to Brad Holmes talk. Get to pull those little nuggets away from him and see what he has to say. So anything else you guys want to chat about tonight before we send it off? Oh, we're only 4 likes away from 150 tonight. So can we get 4? Can we earn 4 more? Did we add 20 more subscribers to the channel tonight? Let's see. That would be phenomenal if we could add some subscribers tonight so we can give away a helmet. Let's see how close we are. So every 500 subscribers that we add, we give away a signed certificate of authenticity mini helmet from Panay Sewell or Chris Spielman, sponsored by Pro Sports Zone out of Livonia. These are authentic. Come on, just show me how many we have. Where's it at? There we go. It looks like we are just 7 subscribers away Now that's 6. We are just 6 subscribers away from giving away a helmet, which means that it's probably going to happen tomorrow. So, or tonight. But it'll be a pop-up. The way it happens is if you guys turn on notifications and you see just a random unscheduled pop-up live that is not breaking news, it's more than likely going to be a helmet giveaway. And you guys will have an opportunity to win it. And that's how I keep it totally unique to just, the people that are paying attention, right? And you can only win it once. I got to be fair to everybody. Give them a chance. So, Chris Mick says, smack it. Mini helmets are dope. They are. Decker Pecker says we're at 154. He says, come on, guys. Got to subscribe. Decker wants it. He wants a helmet. He wants a chance of winning it. Celine 303 says, Will, if our run game suffers or our D line isn't what it should be, do you think the fans will blame T. Williams or AG? Man, you got to finish on that one, huh? Okay. Honest answer. They're going to blame AG. 1,000% they're not going to blame Terrell Williams. You know why? Because nothing but wonderful news has come from the players for Terrell Williams. And in my opinion, I don't know if you can really blame AG for everything, but it's just kind of how, what do they say? Shit rolls downhill. It's just how it rolls. But the thing that I don't like is every year it seems like we lose a coordinator. And I'm not going to go, down into the weeds where I say that AG is masking, his inability by just firing all these coordinators, or Dan Campbell firing coordinators and not having the nuts to fire AG. I just feel like AG hasn't had the personnel yet. And now I feel like he has the personnel. And I mean, we were there last year with a crappy defense. Our defense was terrible in the passing game, but we were really good up front. So I don't think that last year's issue was our defensive line coach either. I mean, if you were second in stopping the run, that was my question. Why did we need another defensive line coach? If anything, we needed a better defensive back coach. Dre Bly just wasn't the answer. Had we had a better defensive back coach last year, we probably would have ended up in the Super Bowl. AG called enough good plays last year to help us maintain close games and to win some close games. I don't think AG's really ever been the issue. I think it's been a personnel issue, and I think there's been an execution issue. I think the game plan is good. I think the defense is solid, the way that it's drawn up. But you still have to execute. You can call a perfect play, but if everybody runs the wrong way, the play doesn't work. So, I don't know. I guess that's my 2 cents, man. I think Terrell Williams is going to be a pleasant surprise for us this year. And I think our defensive backs, they come in ready to play, man. These guys don't need a ton of coaching, but they're going to get it anyway. So that just means we're going to be able to play at a higher level quicker. At least that's what I see on the surface, right? And on paper, we're incredible. So now it's just time to mix those two together. We hit 160 likes. Man, I think that is a preseason record for this channel while live. I mean, we've hit over 1,000 likes before in videos. And we're going to have plenty of really good, solid content for you guys. I haven't done a lot of videos because I've been doing a lot of lives. But now that we're getting into the season, you're going to probably get 2 videos, 1 to 2 lives a day, depending on the day. There'll be plenty of content. But what I don't want to do is just give you guys crap content. I want to make sure that it's good, it's wholesome, it's unique, it's different. The breaking news is the breaking news. But I don't want to just regurgitate. We try to do unique, original content as much as possible here. So Tony D says, sounds like Big Body Patrick from Denver will be available. He's a hell of a blocker. And can't see the last part of that. Something about made a nice receiver 3 or something like that. Nothing to lose by grabbing him up other than his past injury. Well, you know how injuries work for Brad, right? I mean, Brad Holmes loves guys with injuries or previous injuries because you kind of get him on the cheap. So Patrick, his name has been floated a couple of times today. There's a relationship there, obviously, with Dan Campbell and Sean Payton. So I'm sure that they've been on the phone already if there's any interest at all. Ryan Van Valkenburg says he loves hospital shopping. Kind of reminds you of an attorney, right, that chases ambulances. It's Brad Holmes chasing ambulances, looking for that next ball player. So it's funny stuff. Funny stuff. All right, you guys have been great. I appreciate y'all as usual. We'll see you guys in the next one. And I promise you tomorrow, we're going to be giving away a helmet. What a better way to give it away on 53-man roster day. And then I'm also going to be raffling one away. We got to start raising some money for my Rocked On Cancer Foundation. You guys know that I'm a cancer survivor, and my only goal in life is to give back to those that are battling or have battled and just need a few extra bucks in their pocket or a way to help them with their medical bills. So Rocked On Cancer Foundation is alive and well, and we're going to be doing a lot this year. 50,000 is our goal, and we will get there. I promise you, we will get there. We'll have a live tracker tracking it here soon. And that's all because of your guys' help, man. Pushing the content out for us, spreading the message, being part of the solution. Our voice together is bigger than when it's alone. And that's the one thing that I've learned about podcasting is our voice is bigger together. So you guys have a wonderful night. Let's go Rock On Detroit Lions. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the next one. And it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. We're going to know who our team is. Here we go. Super Bowl bound, hopefully. We'll see you. Take care.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.